Mic check 1 2. My man, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm absolutely awesome, man. Good to be here.
Man, I am glad you are here. I want to say thank you again for making time for us, man. Um, First of all, I got to greet my guests, man. I want to say thank you guys for joining in. Thank you for being a part of What's Better Than One Black Millionaire. Thank you for making it go. All of your support, all of your interest, the incredible content that you share, and I'm excited about tonight, man, because we're going to talk about a different direction, not too terribly different, but a different direction and a different focus. And I'm excited about having you here, George, because we connected and our visions are right on point. So first and foremost, let me introduce the gentleman that we have before us tonight, and that is Mr. George Howard Jr. So, George, welcome to What's Better Than One Black Millionaire, sir.
I can tell you, a million millionaires.
Hello. The group is named with a question and the answer at the same time. So it is the question, and then the group is the answer. A group of black millionaires. So, so man, we're excited, man, because I have been, man, I had and I think I already told you the story, man, but I was like pondering what I was going to do with the group in terms of our direction, in terms of our focus, and so it just came to me, man, that we're going to focus on. Thank you. We're going to focus on eliminating the wealth gap, period. And so then I was like, okay, cool. That's dope, God. Now, what do we focus on within that genre of eliminating the wealth gap? And so five pillars came to me, and that's real estate or home ownership, that's investing, that is financial literacy, that's entrepreneurship, and that's health and wellness. And so those are the things, man, we're getting ready to shift our focus onto. And then I was like, okay, that's great. But this needs to be like, anytime you want to make a change, it has to be consistency in the education and the learning. And I was like, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. So I'm looking for a platform that can help with that aspect of those things that we focus on. And God, the universe, the law of attraction brought us together. And so I'm excited about who you are and what you're doing, and we're going to make sure everybody on this live tonight know exactly what that is. But I'm also excited about our future collaboration. So let's just dive into it, man. Your resume is ridiculous, and so but what I want to do is I want to take it all the way back. So tell me about your childhood, where you grew up, the emphasis in your household, all that good stuff.
So I consider myself like a nomad. I've lived. Oops, it's wrong camera. Sorry, I've lived somewhere everywhere. Like so I kind of grew up. I was born in Dayton, Ohio, and then after Dayton, Ohio, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when I was 3 months old, my dad went to college at American Baptist Theological Seminary, so we moved to Nashville, Tennessee. Then he started pastoring in a city called Martin, Tennessee, and I know I started kindergarten there. And then we moved to Gary, Indiana, and he pastored there until I was in 5th grade. And then we moved to Waterloo, Iowa, and there I graduated in Waterloo. And then we came back to Gary, Indiana, where he pastored in Gary, Indiana. But then I went to Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana. Spent 5 years there. Didn't do it in 4. Sorry. Took me 5. Spent 5 years there. And then I moved to Nashville, Tennessee. And I spent 12 years in Nashville until 2010. And since 2010, I've been in Gary, Indiana. The focus in our household, man, is that my dad's a pastor. My mom's a pastor. My sister's married to a pastor. I'm a minister. I have a 4-year degree in theology, and my brother's a pastor. So I think that kind of tells the focus in the household was, God, God first, God, 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 God. So that was it, man. And, we had an average household. It's true what they say about PKs. We are bad. We're some of the worst ones that's in the bunch. And I think we're normal, but because there's more attention and we're in the spotlight, that, you know, anything that I did was, you know, extra highlighted over what, you know, another child may have done, because, you know, he's the pastor's kid. He's supposed to be the best thing on the block. And I was mischievous. So yeah, we did it. I was very athletic in high school, my whole career. I took state in wrestling my senior year. I was in jazz band, pep band, marching band. I played the drums. My jazz band took third in the state twice. I was All-American in football. I was All-State, All-Conference, and all what we call Metro, and two different positions and two different. I was cornerback and tailback, strong safety, strong safety and tailback. So I did fairly well in high school. Graduated with a 3.6 GPA. So that, you know, that was my high school years. That's kind of what I did in high school. But, you know, after that, you know, we kind of got started in the economic thing.
Gotcha. That's dope, man. That's dope. And so what I heard a whole bunch of faith, and actually I heard a whole bunch of competition too. Like, you know, being competitive and wanting to win, because it was like, you know, we were number one in this. I was number one in this. And so is that the mixture that kind of has been the basis of the strides that you've made when it comes to the economic world?
It is, man. And it's funny because I never wrestled or played played basketball. So I was like, I'm going to go out for the basketball team. But as good as I was in football, we lost and we kept losing. And I didn't like losing. And so I was like, I'm not going to get on the basketball team where I have to depend on other people to win. I can just me and the other guy on the wrestling mat. And so I was like, I know I can win. If I lose, it's my fault. So that's why I chose to wrestle. That's really the decision. That's really the reason I chose to wrestle over basketball.
Right. It's kind of like track. You got a track team, but you know, your event, you got to, you know, it's all on you. It's you and your competition.
Yep. So the team can lose and you can still win.
That's good stuff, man. So I understand that you wrote a book about credit.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. 2002. I wrote a book called Edit Your Credit.
Okay.
And it was a 192-page book. I wish I had known you was gonna ask me, but I would have brought it with me. It's next door.
Okay.
But in 192-page book, when people talk about like 611 letters, 608 letters, 67 letters, and all that kind of stuff, that's really my content.
Gotcha.
I wrote that back in 2002, and then we just revamped it last year. So that really big, thick book that looked like a college textbook, we turned that into a 3-book miniseries. So, you know, we have volume 1, 2, and 3. So now they're cuter and more quaint, and they look, you know, less intimidating. And but Rod, I want to say this to you before you keep asking me something. You said something about my resume.
Yeah.
Man, my resume don't even compare to yours. So, you know, I just want to let you know that, you know, I do recognize that, you know, what you've done in the financial industry and in business, man, I'm still looking forward to.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, just a country boy from Wilmington, North Carolina, trying to make hay while the sun is shining. That's it. So now everyone says, not everyone, that's not true, but a lot of people, especially nowadays, they are wearing, you know, and carrying the I'm a financial expert, or, you know, economic expert or credit expert. They're carrying that torch boldly, right? And one of the things that's important to me is having people on here like yourself and other people that we've had before, and anyone who said that they're an educator, is having someone that has done it, right? And done it repeatedly, because oftentimes if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in a space where you're successful, you know, you're going to bump your head and you might trip and fall and lose everything. And then, but because it's in you, you can do it again. And not just someone who can come and talk about theory. Right. So kind of give us the roadmap to you being in the position that you're in now, where you can boldly say, I've done it. And also I can teach it.
Oh gosh, where do I start? I got started. My best friend drove in from Purdue, is about an hour away from Gary, where I'm at. So you know, I'm in college. I'm at that time I was a credit analyst at PNC Bank, and you know, I'm making $9 an hour, man. You know, I'm 19 years old, making $9 an hour, still in college, making good money. And Man, he rolled up on me, man, knocked on my door. I didn't even know he was coming. I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, I got something to show you. What's up? So he goes in his inside coat pocket, man. He pulls out this envelope. I'm like, okay, what is it? And he pulls out this check and he gives it to me. And it's made out to him and it says $4,000. I'm 19, man. I make $9 an hour. What did you get $4,000 from? He said, I'm a loan officer. I said, what's that? I do mortgages. What's that? Like, this is a real conversation. Long story short, he takes me into this mortgage company. A black guy owns 7 of them, and this is in 96. He owns 7 mortgage companies in 96 in Chicago. And so we go into one of the offices, and he happened to be at that office on Sunday while the office was closed. And so I'm sitting in, my friend's office. I'm like, I'm really impressed. The man's making $4,000, and he got his own office, and we 19 years old. I'm like, wow. And so guy name was Bill Payton. So Bill Payton comes into the office and he says, what you guys doing in here? He says, so Sunday, what are you guys doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm just showing my friend my office and, this and this and that. He says, oh, okay, what do you do? He said, I'm a student at Purdue. He said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm a, credit analyst at PNC Bank. You a credit analyst? Yeah. So he literally picks up a folder and he throws it across the room. I catch it. He said, read the credit report. Okay. So I read it and he was like, you want a job? I'm like, yeah, I want a job. Of course I want a job. And so they trained me, man. And so he knew that we were going to be matriculated to Nashville. And so he said, we're not going to give you a processor, not going to give you any of that. And he trained us. And Lemar's grandmother got sick. So we didn't end up opening a mortgage company in Nashville. So I ended up getting a job with Bank of America as regional vice president. Again, I think I'm doing it, Rod. I think I'm doing it, man. By this time I'm 21 years old. I'm a regional vice president with Bank of America, a known company. And so I'm ready. And I get to Dallas Fort Worth. They flew me in business class. I get to Dallas Fort Worth, man, and I'm the only black in the class, not just black male. I'm the only black in the class. And they started talking about something called predatory lending. And everything that they said predatory lending is exactly what we were taught to do.
Wow. So
I was working at a black company servicing black people, but being predatory to black people. Wow. And I didn't know because I was so young. And so I got angry. And so I became a mission that I was going to educate people as much as I can about how to do financing. So you were really young and you became, what angered you about that situation that you were in? Because we were hurting people, man. And that's how I was making so much money. Man, I was making $60,000 a year part-time at 19 years old. Who does that? Right. But I thought it was just the industry. This is before what they now call Section 32 is in place. So, Section 32 says you can only charge 10 points. Now they actually redone it now where you can only charge for, I think it's 4 total closing costs. But man, we were hitting people, man, for 10 points, like easy. So if you bought $100,000 house, man, we were hitting you for $10,000 in closing costs. Wow. And that's, and that's ridiculous. And then we did things like this. We would tell you 8, but when you got to closing, it was 10. If you didn't have another $2,000, you couldn't close. Wow. And they figured out how to get that other $2,000 because they didn't have a choice. They wanted to close on that house. They didn't have a choice. Wow. And it was wrong, man. It was just wrong. We were giving people interest rates that was 2 points higher than what they deserved. So if they deserved a 5, well, at that time, like a 6, we were giving them 8, and because the mortgage company and the lender was going to pay us and they was going to pay us. And so, the owner, Bill, he was getting 50% of everything. So I'm like, hey, listen, if I hit him for 8, I bring home 4. I can do 2 of those a month, bring home $8,000, and I'm 19. Man, this is better than dope money, man. This is, And then when I realized that I was hurting people and that this was wrong, I naturally just got angry about it. So when you got angry, what'd you do? What'd you do about it? Well, first thing I did was I wrote a book called Edit Your Credit. And I started teaching at my brother's church, Breakthrough Ministries. I wrote, man, me and 2 other people sat down at a table, man, and we wrote out a 12-week curriculum where we taught everything from credit to debt-free to cash flow. And a young lady came through that course with us. And then she was after class one day. I worked with her after class almost every day. Shannon Romaine was her name. And she's like, hey, I want you to come teach over at the Urban League of Young Professionals. And I was like, okay. Well, that wasn't my curriculum. I wrote that for Breakthrough Ministries. So I wrote a curriculum for the Urban League of Young Professionals. And then a young lady from the NAACP was in that course, she says, well, can you come write one for us? So I wrote one for them. I was on the radio every single day on both gospel stations, and I didn't pay for my stations. It was a service to the community, and it was like a Dave Ramsey show where I was live every single day for an hour a day on 2 different stations. So I was live twice a day. I would leave one station, had 30 minutes, get to the other one, and I didn't always make it, so I had to literally do my intro in the car, and it's like, okay, we're gonna go take a small commercial break, and I run up the stairs, and then I got to sit in the seat like this, and I'm out of breath, but I can't let people. I can't tell people I'm out of breath, so I gotta, hey, how you guys? George Howard Show, welcome, you know.
Right.
So, yeah, and so we started that, and we just started educating, and out of that, we started Financial Freedom University, and 3 years after I was on the air, we opened our own mortgage company, and they literally beat my doors down. The only problem was that, this is when it was really easy to get a mortgage, Rod. I mean, it was really easy. This is probably 03, 04. It's really easy to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
And we still had about a 60 to 65% denial rating.
Wow.
And
I remember then because I was a wealth manager at I forget the name of the place. It was Wachovia Securities at the time, and I was trying to talk people out of getting a mortgage because it was really, really easy to get a mortgage, and they were giving loans or approved for loans that was like right up to what they could afford based on their income.
Yep.
And a lot of times they were adjustable rate mortgages, which meant if it adjusted a little bit, it was going to be outside of what they can afford.
Yep.
They didn't care because they were getting these huge houses, and they were, it was almost signature loans at that time for mortgages. And I was trying to talk people out of it at the time because I'm like, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And if this thing moves a little bit, you're going to lose this house.
Yeah, man. And that was what made us special because I was on the radio every day. I can't say everybody. I would probably say about 70% of every Thursday was dedicated to the community. So we literally every single Thursday, I didn't do anything in the office. All I did was see client after client after client. And all we did was a one-on-one session where we went over their credit, went over their debt to income ratio, went over a consultation about their finances, and said, where do we go from here? Now, this is people who wasn't doing mortgages. This was just how I gave back to the community. And that if you wanted to book with me, it was probably 5 months out. So if you called me in July or to say January, you wouldn't get an appointment with me until May. It was just booked out, and almost everybody kept their appointments. But yeah, man, it was crazy. But that's when Greenspan was, chairman of the Fed. Yep. And Greenspan was saying, hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with a adjustable rate mortgage. You should have them. And I'm like, no, it's the 30-year fix the way to go. Right. And even after those consultations, Rob, believe it or not, man, people still said, nah, I'm going to go with their arm. Because, the arm give you that teaser rate.
Yep.
It's going to give you that teaser rate. Oh, you can get approved right now for 5% or 4%. Yeah. But what happened was the economy tanked, and them arms went up, and they can no longer afford them. Yeah. And unfortunately, we had the 2007 crash. People say 2008, Rob, but I know you remember that if you were anywhere in the economic or finance industry, you've seen the collapse probably 6 months before everybody else knew.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So also, like in that part of the discussion, I heard there was a lot of transparency, and I also heard that it sounds like giving is a key component of kind of your rise from where you are to where you are now. How important is giving to your overall success?
A lot of reciprocity, man. You can read anybody from the Bible to Think and Grow Rich to The Secret to whatever you want to read, man. Anybody that has experienced any kind of wealth would tell you that one of the keys and one of the key principles is that you can't beat God, is what I say, but some people call it the universe, given. You just can't. You just, and it seems like a principle that really ain't true. Like, I'm going to get more if I'm giving it away. I don't know how it happens, but all I can tell you is that when you continue to give and continue to give, and this is my principle. I say that if I treat God's kids right, he'll continue sending more to me. And so that's what we've done.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah. I was when I first appreciated that principle, I was just taught that, if I'm holding on to, if I have two $10 bills, and I'm just holding on to these $10 bills, and I'm not willing to let at least one of them go, there's no way I can hold on to a $20 bill, right? Because there's no room,
right?
And my fist won't open to receive the 20. And so giving is definitely a key component. And people, I think they think they're being taken advantage of, but I just believe, and I want to know your thoughts on this. I just believe that if you give with the right intent, there's no way you can be taken advantage of.
Well, it's been times where I knew that the person's motives wasn't right, and I still did it. Right? I knew that they thought they were getting over on me, and I still did it. My staff to this day still tells me like, you too nice. But you can't take advantage of somebody who already knows your game. If I already know what your motives are, I already know what you're doing, you're not taking advantage of me. I'm just actually, I'm just been a blessing. And so, yeah, unfortunately, you got people out there that, they try to run game, but, and don't get me wrong, I ain't got a couple times, I didn't see it coming. Right. But those are always, Rod, those are always the ones, and it's funny, man, the ones that you do the most for are always the ones that seem to be the ones who are never satisfied. They always want more and more and more.
Yeah.
I think the time I've been taken advantage of the most with I got into an industry. I know, the richest man in Babylon, you ain't supposed to get into an industry you know nothing about.
Correct.
And so I got into construction. I started buying these properties, and I got into construction, and I didn't know anything about the construction field at all. And man, I probably blew almost $300,000, man, in about 2 years extra than I should have spent. It just got me, man. And it wasn't until we sat down and did the books and kind of looked back and seen what we had spent over 2 years and what we should have spent that it was devastating. But, it's chalk it up to the game. It is what it is. I couldn't go get it back.
And the thing about that, I bet that won't ever happen again. And that was on that level. That was on $200,000-$300,000 level. What if it was on the 200 to 300 million level?
Right? Exactly.
so it really happened for you, and not really happened to you, because you needed that lesson to know what that looks like when you're on a much higher, higher level.
Man, that's good, man. That's real good.
Yeah. So before I get to Be Free University, man, I want to talk about, because again, it's so important to me. I'm God, what is it? Clubhouse. There's so many people on this app called Clubhouse, and everybody has this room, and they're talking about stuff that they've never done. And that really annoys me, because they get an audience and people just kind of flock oftentimes to people that they really haven't done anything. Talk to me about, and what I love about you also is you're not afraid to share your successes. Talk to me about purchasing 100 homes in 6 years.
Yeah. So
talk to me about that.
It wasn't intentional, right? It didn't happen originally intentionally. And when I moved back to Gary, I told you guys my dad's a pastor, and there's healing now, but my father and I didn't speak for about 6 years. And the reason why is because my dad, we just, well, I'm transparent, y'all. My dad has had affairs most of my life. And I moved back, and I found out that he was having an affair with this woman. It wasn't my business, between him and my mama. But then he wanted me to befriend this woman, and I refused to. And I went back and told my mom, and I got put out the house. So I'm sleeping on my auntie's couch. I meet this girl. She's like, "Hey, I want you to move to Indianapolis. You live with me. Cool. Relationship was solid. I moved to Indianapolis. Right about 3 months inside their relationship, man, it was horrible. How they say you don't know somebody till you move in with them.
Exactly.
It was horrible. And I'm at this point, I'm working at Community Action of Greater Indianapolis. I'm making a little bit of money. She had lost her job, so she's back in school. And I'm getting treated like a man. She treated me better when I was broke than she did when I was paying the bills. I didn't get it. And so I wanted to get away, but I didn't have nowhere to go. I wasn't going back to my auntie's couch. So I went to a tax lien auction. I bought a house for $300.
Did you know what you were doing?
I had no clue. None.
So why did you even go to a tax lien auction?
My cousin was going, and my cousin, both, I got a cousin named Annette and no one named Mike, and they were both going to this auction. They said, hey, we're going, you should come with us. Now I heard about tax liens, but again, I ain't never been to no auction. I really didn't know what they were. I just went to a conference actually back in 94, 95. I went to a conference, never did it again, never heard nobody talk about it. And I went, and they're not calling our addresses, they call these numbers, and I see all these people throwing these lines up and all that kind of stuff. We went to lunch, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what we're doing here. So we came back from lunch. His name is Don Guernsey is the auctioneer. And he said, hey, you guys. And there were probably 20 people in the audience. Now, mind you, it's about 300 people there, but we just came back from lunch. He's getting started. Only about 20 people got back in time. He said, hey, you guys, the university is buying up this area. Y'all might want to buy in this area. And he's talking to the 20 people. So me and my cousin decided that we were all going to get a lot. I was going to get one. She was going to get one. He was going to get one. And, I happened to get the best of the three. And I went, and right, I wish I had known. I would actually show. I might have it. I'm going to see if I can get it in a minute. Guys, if you had seen this house, everybody else would have been like, oh my God, you bought that? Yeah. And I was happy. Like, right. I was happy that I got it.
Right.
And because I finally got something of my own. You know what I'm saying? Mm. I got something is mine. I have no debt on it, no nothing. I drove from Indianapolis every weekend. I started fixing that house up. Because remember, I'm paying all the bills in my girl's house.
Right.
So I couldn't afford to pay contractors to fix this house up. So I would just drive down every weekend, man. I started fixing it up. It took me about 4 or 5 months. But I sold it for $53,000.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I put $7,000 in it. I bought it for $300 and I sold it for $53,000. I ain't no dummy. I'm going back to the auction. Right?
That's some good math. That's some good math right there. That's some good ciphering right there.
So I went back to the auction, and I went back and I bought 3 more. And I also bought the house I live in now. And then I actually bought this studio, the house I'm in now, the studio I'm in now. I bought this one. And I fixed those houses up, started putting tenants in them. And then the next auction came around. And so I was on Periscope, and I was like, well, I'm already teaching financial literacy on Periscope. I'm going to teach tax liens. Mm. And man, my numbers probably tripled in a matter of a month. I might have had, matter of fact, it was more than that. We went from like 300 followers probably to 3,000 followers in a month. Like it was bananas. And so they was like, can you put this in the course? Can you put this in the course? And I was like, yeah, I'll put a course in. And so I put a course together, and I probably sold over 3,000 or 4,000 courses. My student bought over 400 properties in just this area alone. I bought over 100 in this particular area. But when I first started this, man, this was a place. It was something I did because, I didn't have nowhere to live. And then once it worked, and it's just funny how God works, right? Because it was almost like if I had things that had been lined up for me, I would have never found tax liens, or I would have never done them. But the fact that I had been where I was and did what I done, because of the struggle, I found this, man, and it just worked out that now I'm now teaching it, and it's empowering so many people's lives.
Man, that is incredible. I absolutely love it. That reminds me of I was watching a video with Neil deGrasse, and Joe Rogan was asking him about what did he think about this whole listen society where your phone is listening to you, and what Siri is
Alexa
listening to you, and his answer was kind of shocking, because he said that's like me walking into a store and someone asking me, can I help you with what you're looking for? And they take him directly to it. And he said that and him, those devices listening to him and sending him what he was talking about, a coupon or a way to get what he was talking about, that robs him of the ability to stumble upon things on the journey. So
wow,
right, dude, I was like, oh, so if he goes into a store and they ask him, can I take you, or can I show you what you're looking for, or what are you looking for? Can I help you with that? He automatically says no, because he wants to hunt. He wants to, to find things out on his way to the thing that he came there for.
It's what he said. It ruined his shopping experience.
But it ruined his discovery experience.
Right, because
he
now
wanted to get the thing, but he could have discovered stuff along the way.
Yeah, right? That's why I'm saying I would have never thought about that. That was almost genius.
Yeah. Well, he is a genius. The guy. Yeah. All right. So let's kind of pivot, man. So we know that you've taught some people some stuff. You actually did the things. And we always talk about, because I bring very successful people on here. I want you to tell me about a time, and you told me about one time when you lost the money with the construction situation. But tell me about a time where you were like, this might be it. Where
it was
a major fail, because people always talk about the good stuff, even like with trading and options and all that. They talk about the wins. They don't talk about the L. So give us an L and how you recovered from that L.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna look you right in the face, because this is man. Listen, man, my people calling me thinking I was gonna commit suicide. I'm like, bro, I'm never with that guy. If something look like suicide, I'm telling you now, start checking the closest people to me, because I ain't never taken myself out. But that's how literally messed up. I lost everything, Rod. Remember, I'm on the radio. I'm doing conferences called True Riches across the country. I'm authored. I own mortgage companies. I'm brand new married. I got a 6,000 square foot house. I'm doing it. And I'm just now turning 30 years old. Like, I'm doing the thing. And yeah, I lost everything probably in a matter of 6 months.
Wow. 6 months.
We literally, we
here to here in 6 months.
Listen, man. I'm gonna be transparent. I've never told this story publicly, right? And I've never ever shared this. But sometimes, man, God brings you to plain things, and I'm just gonna share it. I think it's about time. I got married, man, and I had never been in love before. I was a hoe. Like, I thought it was God's gift, man. I just told you all the accomplishments I had, so I thought it was God's gift. And so I met this young lady, man, fell in love with her, never been in love before, and I met me. My friends literally to this day still call her George in a dress, because I met me in a dress.
Wow.
And literally she would say the stuff to me that I said to other people. And I was like, you can't say that. I've said but
that's mine.
That's my line. Right. And I literally, man, I lost everything. When I say everything, I lost everything. And I could not figure out why this woman wouldn't love me. I couldn't. I mean, I gave her. I mean, we bought an $800,000 house. I'm taking care of her 3 kids. I'm taking care of her sister's 3 kids. She ain't working. Like, I'm doing everything, and this woman just dogging me, man. And people kept. Well, first they told me don't marry her. It was so bad, right? I snuck and got married. Like, I literally showed up at work because all my friends work for me, and I showed up at work and I had a ring on my finger, and they was like, "You didn't." I was like, yeah, man, I did. No, you didn't. And only progressively. Listen, this is how bad it was. My parents told me in front of her, don't marry her. In front of her. Like, in front of her.
Now, I so everybody's telling you not to. What at that moment in time, or at least during that time period, what was your gut telling you?
I love her, and I'm going to make this work. And they don't know what I know, and I'm gonna show them wrong, and we're gonna be happy, and I'm gonna make this work. And I tried to force something, man, that, unfortunately they say, love is almost like insanity, And so I called. So at that time, remember I told you I was doing the Thursday thing, right? Where every Thursday that I was put up for 5 months, I cut it off. I remember Lemar, the guy who brought the $4,000 check to my apartment when I was in Lafayette. I hired him. So he's not running the mortgage company. So I'm doing the radio show and I'm doing the seminars. That's what I do. And Lemar kept calling me. He said, man, we need you at the office. And I told him, this is arrogance, right? And y'all, I'm telling y'all, it's no matter how big you get, you got to stay humble, because if I had stayed humble, I probably wouldn't have lost what I lost. But again, I'm arrogant at this point. And he's like, man, you need, and I told him, I said, well, if I got to come to work, what I need you for? And I meant it. Like, I hired you to run the company, run it. And he's telling me, man, the company too young. It was called the George Howard Show. It was CFIC with George Howard and team. So I built a business model around George Howard, which was And at the time, you know, I'm the man. I was doing it, which was the dumbest thing I could have ever done. Because when I removed myself,
that's it.
You know what I'm saying? And so, so when the recession came, the recession hit, all my friends worked for me, so I kept them on payroll. And George Bush said he was going to pass the Bailout Act. It failed. Barack Obama was running, go black man, go. And you know, he said he's going to pass the act. He passed it, but guys, on this time, I didn't lay none of my friends off because they all, you know, I got this big house. I'm making it, and all my friends work for me, so I didn't lay them off. And you're looking at 25 to 35,000 a month in payroll and phone bills and rents and copy bills, copy machines, because we didn't buy it, we leased it. That was another dumb thing I did. You know, all this stuff, man. And you're looking at 10 months, you know, of carrying this, and the banks are still not lending. Because when Obama passed the Bailout Act, they got the money, but they didn't start lending again. And so I'm carrying it. So we consolidated down to one office because I had two different offices in Nashville, Tennessee, one in Smyrna, one in Nashville. We consolidated down to one. Then we consolidated down to just my big house. And then it was over. And I want to tell you how lost I was, Rod. I was sitting in my office in the house. I pulled out a file and I'm pulling out my lender's list, and it just hit me. It's over. Now, Rod, it had probably been over 30 days before then. I didn't even realize it.
You were just trying to hang on to make it work.
I think I was depressed, man, and didn't know it. I was in depression. My wife wasn't making it. Now I'm going to say this, guys, and I'm going to tell y'all this, and I'm going to say it publicly. I have never hit a woman in my life. I got a domestic assault charge against me. It's 2:00 in the morning, man, about 1:00 in the morning. You know, I get in the bed and I reach over and tell her happy anniversary. And she was like, today ain't our anniversary. We didn't get married today. And I was like, no, today's the day I met you. And she was like, oh, well, I want a divorce.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Why? What's going on? And so she's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm young. I'm arrogant. I'm going to make her talk. Now you're going to talk to me. Oh, you're going to talk to me.
We're going to have a conversation.
Oh, we definitely going to. I got up, turned the light on. You know, she put the pillow over her head. I turned the TV on, turned the volume all up. You're going to talk to me tonight. So she got up and she got her keys. And it's October. Matter of fact, it's October 13th. And she's leaving and she got a nightgown on up to her knees. And so I stood in front of the door. Now, mind you, we got this big old house. So I stood in front of the door. And she had her purse on her shoulder, and I knew that her keys were in her purse. So I wrestled with her and got the purse away from her. I didn't hit her, man. I promise you I didn't. Got the purse away from her. And so the kids heard her scuffling. They called the police. Police get there. I didn't run because I didn't do nothing. I hadn't hit her. I hadn't done anything. And they said that the fact that I took the purse off of her body was an assault. And because she was my wife, it was domestic, and it was a domestic assault. So now I got a pending trial coming up. I'm losing my company. I've stopped doing the radio show. My income is nowhere near what it was. My savings are pretty much depleted. I don't even know how I'm gonna pay my mortgage. Everything's just falling apart, man. And I'm literally, it got so bad, Rod. At the end of the day, I became the DVD man.
No,
I cannot tell a lie.
What's the DVD man?
So I couldn't get a job because on your application it asks you, have you ever been convicted of a crime, blah, yada yada. I hadn't been convicted, but I had to tell that I had a pending charge against me.
Right. And
because it was new and it was domestic, nobody would hire me, even though I had a great resume. And so I became we'll be here all day if I tell the story. I became the DVD guy. And we did well. It was my business, right? I ran the DVD business like a dope man. I found the best spots in the city. I got DVD players out, gave each one. I had people at the house burning. I had a guy delivering. I had people in the corner and they would call, say, hey, we out of this movie. The girls back at the house, they would actually burn them. I would go by, hey man, how much cash you got on you? I take that cash in case they make sure they didn't get robbed. We turned it into a whole business. It was a business. So we were doing probably like $1,000 a day doing DVDs, man. It was crazy. Wow. And then the police pulled me over, and I didn't know I was delivering DVDs to the dope house. I really didn't know.
Wow.
So they see me pull up, I put a package out the window. They give me some money. I pull off. Wait till I got down the street, man. They pulled me over. And man, I looked up and I'm not lying, Rod. It was about 30 cops behind me. Literally about 30 cops. And they started questioning, where am I going? Where am I coming from? And I'm like, man, what I do? You know, first question they asked was, does this car belong to you?
Right.
That's weird. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
And so when I finally looked behind me, man, seeing all these, because people coming outside watching. So when I finally looked behind me and said, whoa, what's going on? Like, what's going on, man? And at that point, I decided I got to do something different. This ain't for me. So I moved back home, and I'm literally destitute at this point. I moved back home. I don't have anything. And so, you know, start working at a place called Regional Fair Housing Center, where I'm a housing counselor. And that's where I kind of got my start at. And then I met got put up my dad's house and met my girl. And, you know, I told that story already. And, you know, God just gave it back to me very, very slowly. But I'll tell you the lesson I learned is that you must always stay humble. You got to, man. You must always stay humble.
Gotcha. That's good stuff. All right, man. Let's dive into Be Free University. I mean, just the term itself is telling, you know. And one of the things that I read a book that talked about the Jewish community, and back in the day, you always knew what the person did because they put what they did in the title of their company or what have you. The book is called Thou Shalt Prosper. And so that's how you got the Jacob the jeweler, so-and-so blacksmith. And so when I hear Be Free University, it just speaks to what it is, but I can't do it justice. So I'm going to let you tell everyone, what is Be Free University?
So when I was going through this whole thing, right, and I started teaching again, because I opened Financial Freedom University again, I started examining wealth, man, and I realized that what I was teaching, while it was needed, it was still ineffective. I'm teaching you how to get good credit. I'm teaching you how to get out of debt. I'm teaching you how to grow your cash flow. But at the end of the day, y'all, we still broke. Like, we're debt free, but you're broke. Like, how do I get rich? And then I started analyzing, man. I realized that the system is set up to put us in bondage. You going to school to go get a job is a setup. And I'm not against job and I'm not against the education, but I can tell you this. I don't know anybody that has a job. They never got wealthy working a 9-to-5 job only. I'm going to say it again. They never got wealthy working a 9-to-5 job only. They're in bondage. And so I looked at it, Rod, and I said, well, what do all millionaires and billionaires have in common? And I said, there's 5 things they got in common. I mean, I'm reading books, man. I'm researching. There's 5 things they all got in common. Number one, they don't have a job. I don't care if it's Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. I don't care. Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry. Elon Musk. I don't care who you name. None of them, unless they're an athlete. It's the only exception is athletes. Everybody else, they don't have a job. Number one. Number 2, they own a business or a brand. Number 3, that business probably pays them some kind of way in passive income. Number 4, they get paid through dividends. Number 5, they pay very little taxes. Every last millionaire, billionaire that you can think of have those 5 things in common. If that's it, why are we not teaching those 5 things? Why are we not teaching it? Passive income,
right,
dividends, and very little taxes.
Yeah.
If we ever want to be free, and that is to live life the way you want to design your life. Right. Most people can't design their life because they got a job. Like, I was in Wisconsin, right? And I had a little get together and, and said, hey, listen, I'm in Wisconsin for my people. You want to come out? I'm going to be at this restaurant. So we had some people there. So I'm sitting beside each person, working the room while we eating. And I got beside this girl. Her name was Miss Palmer. And man, she messed me up. She said she just opened a financial literacy company. And I said, wow, what made you do that now? And she, because, I'm looking at doing what we're doing now. So, well, what made you do it now? And she says, I got tired of asking permission to be a good parent. I had never heard that before. I said, what do you mean? She says, I got tired of having to call off. She said her daughter was sickly. She said, I got tired of having to call off when my daughter's sick. I got tired of when I got, calling off when she had any kind of practice or a game. I got tired of calling off when she had a PTA meeting. I got just tired of asking to be a good parent. And I realized that there's something wrong with the system. And so I started looking at it, whether you have a newborn, they tell you how long you can take off for your newborn.
Yep.
If you have a death in the family, oh, it's a mama, you get 5 days. Grandmama, you get 3 days. Oh, it's a cousin, you get 1 day. How you gonna tell me how long to grieve?
Exactly.
Like, these are things, like, it's bondage. You are a slave.
Yeah.
Literally. And so Be Free University is going to teach you how to be free.
Gotcha. So one of the things that I learned and help me and also help the audience with this is that and I'll share how I got past it, but there's a notion that says everyone is not an entrepreneur. Everyone can probably do the other things you talked about, but everyone is not an entrepreneur. What do you say to that notion?
I agree with that. Everyone is not, guys. An entrepreneur takes a skill set. You have to know how to run a business. You got to know how to do conflict management. You have to know how to do, measure your KPIs. You have to know how to, negotiate and deals. There's certain skill sets that has to happen. But just because you're not an entrepreneur doesn't mean you can't have passive income and dividends. And that's the difference, is that you don't have to be a business owner to be free.
Absolutely. And my thing is, a lot of times I just believe there's 3 skill sets that have to exist in a business. You got the artist, and the artist is the person that, they create. They're the creator, and they're painting, right? And they're painting, but they don't care about, creating a business. They just care about creating. And then you have the entrepreneur walks in and goes, "Oh my God, look at all these incredible paintings." And the artist is like, "Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, they call me Basquiat, and I just paint because I love painting. All you gotta do is slide pizza and Pop-Tarts under the door, and they happy, right? Because they just want to paint." But the like, "Oh my God, man, we could sell these paintings. We can open up galleries and sell the paintings." And then the third skill set walks in the room and overhears the conversation, and that's the manager or the leader, and says, "Listen, if you get them open, I'll run them." So you got that creator, then you got the entrepreneur with that visionary person, and then you got the person that can run them, that can lead, right? And so typically, you might have one of those skill sets, and you might could partner with someone to actually run the business, because if you're an artist, you don't care about running a business. So you might can get someone to help you run a business, and all of a sudden now you're an entrepreneur and you're doing what you love, and that's just creating. And so that's just kind of my take on it. You don't have to be the person out front. You don't have to be the leader. I mean, there's so many people that have businesses and brands that aren't out front, and they have the people with the skill sets that can, manage operations on a day-to-day basis, that can handle the finances, that can handle sales and all that good stuff. But I just believe that entrepreneurship is the way to break those chains that you talk about, and break that bondage. Because, I was in corporate America for a long time before, I bumped my head one day, me and my 2 business partners, and we decided to create a way to get out of corporate America. Be Free University. Tell us how Be Free University works.
Well, I looked at it, right, and remind you guys, you got to learn from your mistakes. And so I looked at Financial Freedom University, and I was repeating the same cycle. Financial Freedom University, I was the only educator. I was the only, it was almost like the Dave Ramsey show again. It's like, and then I was also focused with this, Rod, right? I wanted to build something that's going to be here after I'm gone. Like, what does your life stand for? What is your life's purpose? And so I started looking around and I said, well, I want to teach these different skill sets. I want to teach these different things. And while I know some of them, I don't know all of them. And so I said, well, how about making a business model where people like me can come on one platform and teach that specialty that they know? So for me, I'm teaching tax liens because I've done it several times. My student has done it several times, but we're looking at like people like Rod, who had exits out of several companies. You don't meet people of your caliber, especially of our complexion, pretty much ever. Like, you're a rarity. It just really is. Right. And so why not bring Rod on the platform and have him teach exactly how he did what he did? What about the guy who trades? Have him come on the platform and teach exactly how he trades, or the crypto guy, or the Forex guy, or how about the guy who does digital marketing? And we take all of these different concepts that gives you passive income. It gives you dividends, and it gives you very little taxes, and have them come on one platform where we can all teach, and it's not a competition thing. It's a collaboration thing, because if we don't do this, we'll never close the wealth gap. And so I said, we're gonna come on here, but now how do you make it affordable? Right? Because my real estate class, just one, I got several. One real estate class is $3,500. The average person can't afford it. So how do I open this up? And I got all of this content on one platform and make it affordable. Well, the only way to do it is with a subscription. Right. And so, okay, so how do I get the educator to come on and make and not make it a competition with their existing brand? I said, well, let's make this a place where it can expand their brand, not smother their brand.
I love it. Love it.
So now I'm expanding your brand. Like, well, I'll tell you about in a minute. I'm expanding their brand by bringing them in with all these different people. So now they're getting exposure to people they would have never been exposed to. I said, and then, we're lowering the cost for people to actually be able to get this kind of content education. So everybody's winning on one platform, and we're working together in harmony to do one thing, and that's help people be free. And every single person who teaches at Be Free University is somebody who's already done what you're trying to do. And so that's what it is.
Gotcha. I love it. So you don't have a bunch of theorists that read a book and trying to teach us how to do what they read in the book that we could go read. It's somebody that has done it, that actually has some bumps and some bruises. And so what you're doing basically is eliminating the learning curve, or definitely shortening the learning curve significantly.
College don't work no more, right?
Yeah. College definitely doesn't work. I mean, the only difference between a 1920s classroom and a 2021 classroom is a chalkboard versus a whiteboard.
And even what you put on both of them is still the same.
It's still the same. Yeah. So you're absolutely right. So one of the things that I just love the whole teaching aspect. Now, you touched on how people can. This is one way people can get residual income. Tell me how people can get residual income
inside of Be Free.
Inside of Be Free. Yep.
Oh gosh, there's several ways actually, and so we call it earn while you learn, right? So we have traders that are coming out, and our traders will send you signals like you ain't mastered the skill yet, but you actually can earn income. Right now, April 6th, 7th, and 8th, I'm taking a whole group right now through an auction right here in Lake County, Indiana, where I'm teaching them step by step what to do. They don't know what they're doing yet, but they're literally going to be earning money. Like they're going to be buying property. They haven't mastered the tax lien skill set. Why? Because I'm walking them through that process. Same thing in digital marketing. You got a digital marketer saying, hey, I'm going to help you set up your email funnel. I'm going to help you set up your first launch project. I'm going to help you. And you haven't mastered it yet, but you're literally setting up passive income while you're learning. But then in addition to that, we said, well, at a university, you can get a scholarship. So how are we going to give scholarships? So we said, well, instead of based on athletics or academics, let's base it on revenue. So if you can actually watch this, if you can promote 3 people to this university, we'll give you a scholarship. What would happen if Michigan University or Hampton or let's call it Clark or Spelman or Howard or Morehouse came up with that same concept and said, hey, listen, if you guys can get 3 people to enroll in Howard, you can come tuition free. Wow. Man, what would happen with attendance and tuition?
Yeah, just
right.
Tuition would go down and attendance would go up, and skill set would go up, and net worth would go up, and legacy would go up, and it's just
just keeps going, right?
Yeah.
And so then we went a step farther. Said, well, we're teaching people passive income while they're learning passive income. Let's give them another way to make passive income. So instead of me paying Google to go advertise for me, or Yahoo or Facebook or Instagram, the same people, and YouTube, the same person, instead of me giving money to all these people that already got money, the best advertising is word of mouth. And so if you share your experience and people want to hear, if your credit score going up, you're getting out of debt, you're learning skill sets, you're making trades, and you buying real estate, I promise you somebody's going to ask you what you're doing. Your life has changed. We now pay you after you get your 3, you're free. For everybody that enrolls after that, we pay you for it. And we pay you very well, from $600 a month all the way down to $1 million a month.
Gotcha. Yeah. And that's based on, of course, your effort, your
Got to be.
the value, et cetera, et cetera. So the other thing that I love when we talked and I kind of kicked the tires and looked behind the curtain and lift up the veil, because this work is, I hadn't made any money doing this work, but it's the end game for me, right? Because I know how to create wealth. I know how to do that, but I need other people to know how to do that. I never forget, man, the day that I heard about Trayvon Martin, many years ago. I was actually on a golf course, and the thing that came to me was, what would that have happened to him if he had other options and he could be on a golf course? Would that have happened to him? And then when you look at all the other people that have been slain, one way or the other, by a gunshot or a chokehold, it boiled down to economics. Selling loose cigarettes, passing a $20 bill, allegedly a fake $20 bill, or it was tied to economics. And I just believe economics is the foundation for a lot of change, particularly with our people. And I just think that Be Free is going to be a key component to that. So I'm just like really proud to collaborate with you, man, and share Be Free University with the folks that's a part of What's Better Than One Black Millionaire, and see what we can do together, man, to close the wealth gap. One thing I know for a fact is that, and this comes from starting multiple businesses, there's going to be some bumps in the road, and nothing is going to be perfect out the gate. But if our intention is right, and we work together, and like you said, everybody is humble and egos are checked at the door, there's nothing that we can't accomplish together, man.
Well, you know what, though, Rod? I think that's what makes you so special. I mean, and this ain't, blowing smoke, man. I think is true. When you have somebody of your caliber, when you have someone of your essence, who says, you know what, instead of me trying to do it myself, I would rather partner with somebody and join the organization. And before I put my word out there, let me go kick the tires. Let me join. I didn't know you had joined until we had the last conversation. You said, yeah, I've been checking it out. Make sure it's the real thing, And you said, hey, listen, I would rather come over here instead of being a competitor. I would rather come in and do a collaboration.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to take in our communities, man. It's for us to stop competing. Yeah, it's so much money in our community. We don't have to hate on each other. I promise you.
I swear.
There's so much money in our community. So much money. If we can just work together, I promise you, we can change this wealth gap.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Time, man. I could go on, for another hour, but I'm not. So we're running out of time, and I know you have another appointment. So I always ask people this one last question, man, and that is, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what are you going to accomplish over the next 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself pastoring. I feel like I will have passive income set up where, Rashida will be running Be Free University. Brittany's running, Financial Freedom University. We're working on right now. Charles will be running what we're calling the Titan program, where we're buying a whole zip code right now. I will say it again, we're buying an entire zip code right now at the auction. And so Charles will be running, that particular industry. And then now
we're gonna have another conversation about how you buy the zip code. You ain't say a few houses in the zip code. You said we're gonna cut this little piece of the city out and we're gonna buy it. So that's a whole other conversation. But I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine, man. I know.
You don't say I'm gonna buy a zip code and just like, I'm going to Chuck E. Cheese. You don't just you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're fine, man. We've been buying back the block now for a while. It's time to take it up to another level. We're buying the zip code. And so so now I have all of this. Watch this, hear me. I have passive income, I have dividends, I pay very little taxes. So now I can design my life the way God wants me to design it. And I feel like I want to pastor. But now I can do it because I'm free. I'm not doing it because I love money. I'm doing it because I love people. And it's a totally different concept.
And man, and I say it all the time. I have a problem with people who say I have enough money. I got enough. I have a problem with that, because that means you're not thinking that I need more to help more people, because what money does, it just gives you more options. And so basically what you're talking about is getting to a point in place in your life where if I want to go pastor and I want to do it with integrity and not have to worry about where I'm gonna get my next meal from, or and worry, you know, beg and borrow and steal to help, you know, start a program, then I'll have that option. But I got to get these things in place in order for me to have those options. And it's not all about you. It's about helping. Everybody knows if you know a pastor, or if you're close to your pastor, you know that you better be called to do that, number one. And the majority of the time you're thinking about someone else, and you're doing the work to help someone else, man. So, man, like I said, I can go on and on and on. So, man, I appreciate you so much. So thank you for taking out the time. Folks, go ask questions. You know, George, you can go back and jump on, you know, later on, just kind of go on. This will be presented inside of the group. So it'll be posted in the group. So,
hey Rod, I got a question for you though.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
What's better than one black millionaire?
And a group of black millionaires, million plus black millionaires that have options that their great grandkids never met them, but they gonna be able to say mama and papa was bad, because I'm resting in that sacrifice. I'm resting in that work. And I didn't, you know, I don't know about those stories, those sad stories, because I didn't inherit anything, because my mom and papa, they set me up. So that's what's better than just one black millionaire. So, man, thank you so much. People, ask questions in the group. George will get back. I may pop up and answer some of those questions as well. But go check out Be Free. I put a link inside the group already. I put a link inside of the chat here. Go check it out. If you have any questions, you know, shoot me a DM or something. But Be Free will collaborate, or what's better than one black millionaire? We'll collaborate with Be Free. We will support Be Free. And we're also having conversations about how we just take that whole collaboration and support to a whole nother level. So
hey,
thank
I
you.
know
So
we gotta go. I know we gotta go. I'm late for another meeting, and I know this is only an hour show.
Yes,
but
sir.
Listen, Freedom Fest, our speakers, Roland Martin, Damon John, Joe Dudley from Dudley Beauty and Hair Products, RC Blakes. We have Ashley Ann. We have Derek Harper. We got Juju. We have Ash Cash. Man, we have a lineup that is absolutely crazy, and it's free, Rod. It's absolutely free. Go to Freedom Fest 2021, freedomfest2021.com. All right, that's my last word. Thank you, Rod.
I appreciate that, man. So, and that's what's the date of that?
March 26th to the 28th.
March 26th to the 28th. Again, man, I appreciate you, bro. I send you an enormous amount of blessings. Thank everyone for joining. Again, ask questions. Go check out Be Free. Check out Freedom Fest 2021 as well. And let's do what we do, man. Let's support each other. Let's take it to the next level. Let's grow. Let's build. Let's dominate. Let's eliminate this wealth gap. We might not see it in our lifetimes, but I promise you we're going to be the spark to make sure it happens. So with that, I'll say good night. Thanks again, George.
Salute,
bro. Salute, man. Have a great night, y'all.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.